Okay guys, so for today's lesson is the last part of our discussion for this first quarter, which is the sum of geometric sequence. But first, let me just show you the formula for the sum of geometric sequence. For the sum of the geometric sequence, we are using this formula, S sub n. The formula of the sum of the terms is equal to the first term multiplied to 1 minus the common ratio raised to n over 1 minus r. So instead of adding all the terms, we are using this formula over here to find the sum of finite terms or finite geometric sequence. So let's have, for example, this problem over here. We have find the indicated sum of the geometric sequence 8 plus 16 plus 32. And this pattern over here has 8 terms. So ano yung sum ng pattern na ito hanggang 8 terms? Kung i-generate natin to guys hanggang 8 terms, medyo madami siya. So instead of finding the missing 5 terms and then adding it, we can use this formula to solve for the sum of this sequence. So let's solve. Take note, in order for us to find the common ratio of this particular pattern, we just need to divide the second term to the first term. So we have 16 divide 8 is 2 and 32 divide 16 is 2. 2 here is our R or the common ratio for this particular pattern. So let's try to solve. Since meron na tayong A sub 1, meron tayong first term and common ratio which is R. So let's try to solve this problem over here. So our formula is S sub 8 because we're looking for the first 8 terms or the sum of the first 8 terms. So our first term is 8 times 1 minus the common ratio is 2 raised to 8 over we have 1 minus 2. So using the PEMDAS rule, we now have 8 multiplied to 2 raised to 8. 2 raised to 8 is equal to 256. So we have 1 minus 256 over negative 1. Negative 1 because 1 minus 2 is 1 and negative 2 is greater than 1. So we follow the sign of negative 2. So we now have 8. Simplifying the terms or the numbers inside the parentheses, we now have 255, right? And then just need to multiply 8 to 255. So that is 255 times 8 is equal to 200 negative 2440 over negative 1. Again, take note, negative divide to negative is equal to positive number. So 2040 is the answer for the sum of the first 8 terms. Okay, so the sum of this 8 terms pag inad natin siya is 2040. Now let's have another problem. Let's have this another problem wherein we are ample chart. Okay, so let's try to solve another example wherein we have this one. So first, ang unin natin gagawin guys is hanapin muna natin yung ating common ratio, and to find the common ratio you have to divide the second term to the first term. So that is 4 divided, that is 2 divided by 4. We have we have 1/2, right? Okay, so we have 1/2, and this one we also have 1/2. So we're looking for the first 10 terms of this particular pattern. So instead na i-generate natin yung 10 terms na yon para tapos i-add natin siya. So ang gagamitin na lang natin is yung ating formula. Our formula is S sub n is equal to the first term times multiplied to 1 minus the common ratio raised to n. This is n over 1 minus the common ratio. So substituting now the value, we now have the first term, which is 4. The value of our first term is 4. This is a sub 1, and the common ratio is equal to 1/2, right? So let's try to solve. We're looking for the first or the sum of the first 10 terms of this particular pattern. So our a sub 1 or the first term is 4. Yes. And 1 minus the common ratio is 1/2. Iburahin natin to. Hirap ah. Okay. Okay! Sulat tayo ulit. Raised to 10. Yes. Okay, 10. All over 1/2. 1 minus 1/2. So evaluating this, we have 1. 1 raised to 10 is 1. 2 raised to 10 is 1024. 1024 over 1 minus negative 1 minus 1/2 is still 1/2. Okay, next we have to evaluate this pattern over here. So we have now 4 times yung ginagawa natin sa subtraction of fraction. So just multiply 1 and 1024. So that is 1024 minus 1. Kasi meron tayong imaginary 1 dito. Times 1. Over the denominator, which is 1024 over 1/2. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, next. So, meron tayo. Evaluate natin to. We have 4 times 1024 minus 1 is 1023 over 4 1/2. Now, this fraction is big. No? So, ang pwede natin gawin is to determine the common factor of this numbers over here. We know that 4 is a factor of 1024. And that is equal to 4. This is 4. Pangat ng 4. Baguhin natin. So, this is 4. We have 1023. Yeah. So, we have... Okay, anong pwede natin i-multiply sa 4 para maging 10,024? And that is simply dividing 1024 divide 4. So, ang factors ng 1024 ay 4 times 256. Yan, over 1/2. Since pareho na tayong may 4 dito, pwede na natin ito i-cancel. Tapos, ang matitira na lang is yung ating ito. 1023 over 256 divide 1/2. Okay, so we're left with this one. So, try natin solve ulit. So, next meron na tayo nito. Ayan. So, balik tayo dito. So, meron na tayong dalawang fraction dito. Yan. So, kung i-rewrite natin to guys, magiging 1023 over 256 divided by 1/2. And we know that if we are dividing two fractions, we are just we have to get first the reciprocal of this one and proceed to multiplication. Ang shortcut nun, cross multiplication. So, dito tayo. Okay, 223 times 2 over 256 times 1. 256 times 1 is still 256. So, di na natin kailangan si 1 dyan. Okay. Since meron tayong isang even number dito at even din yung nasa baba, factor ng 256 ang 2, right? 256 is equal to, so write natin to, times 2. 256, and that is 256 divide 2. So, we have, ang factor ng 256 ay 2, or 128 times 2 is also equal to 256. Okay, factor niya yan. So, yun. Haba, nung hirap pag-fraction, mahaba. So, pareho lang sila. Okay. So, anong pwede natin gawin since meron na tayong 2 on both sides, so pwede na natin i-cancel to ang dalawa. So, ang may iwan na lang ngayon, guys, ay yung ating 1023 over 128. And with that, we can proceed to simplifying fractions already. Ilang 128 ang meron sa 1023? So, that is 1023 divide 128. Yan. So, kung i-evaluate natin sa ating calculator, meron tayong 7 and 127 over 128. May, kalas. 128. So, ito na yung ating final answer. Haba ng journey. Okay. Yan. So, the sum now of that pattern 4 to 1 hanggang 10th term is 7 and 127 over 128. In decimal, that is 7.992. Okay, so that is the sum of the first 10 terms. Okay, so let's have another example over here. So we have this particular sequence which we have 2, 4, 8, 16. And it is progressing in exponential pattern because you're just multiplying 2 to the next 2 to the first term to get the next number. Okay? So, syempre, ilang terms yan. And we are looking for the 7th terms. Therefore, we want to find for the sum of the 7th terms na meron tayo if we are going to generate it hanggang 7. Okay, so given na yung ating first term, ang ating common ratio dito ay 2. Because if we divide 4 to 2, we have 2. If we divide 8 to 4, we have 2. If you want to divide 16 to 8, we have 2. Okay, so we're looking for the S sub 7. And for that, the solution will be, okay, S sub 7 is equal to the first term. Again, ang formula natin ay the first term times 1 minus the common ratio raised to n over the first, over 1 minus the common ratio. So we have, okay, so let's have now the first term. Our first term is 2, right? So, ang first term natin is 2. And then 1 minus the common ratio is 2 raised to 7 dahil kinukuha natin yung sum ng ating first 7 terms minus 2 as our common ratio. So, saan galing na naman yan? Guys, substitute lang natin yung mga given values natin na nandito sa ating problem. Okay? Next, evaluate natin yung ating solution. So, first, let's have this numbers inside the parentheses. Lagi nating uunahin yung nasa parentheses. Since ang nandyan is exponential number pa lang, so let's have 2 raised to 7. 2 raised to 7 is equal to 128. Okay, so I have 1 minus 128 over 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is negative 1, right? And we know that any number divided by 1 is the number itself. So that's negative. So ito magiging negative siya later. Pero sige, step by step natin to. So we have 1 minus 128. We have negative 127 divided by negative 1. Next, evaluate natin to. So 2 times negative 127. 2 times negative 127 is equal to 254. Okay, so we have now negative 254 over negative 1. We know that if we are dividing two negative numbers, it will give us positive number, right? So we have negative 254 divided by negative 1 is equal to positive 254. Therefore, the sum of the first 7 terms, or let's say, sabihin na lang natin as sub n to. The sum of the first 7 terms, or S sub n, for the sequence 2, 4, 8, and 16 is equal to 254. Okay? Meaning, if you're adding this number over here hanggang 7th term, we can get 254. Okay, so let's try to solve this problem over here. We are looking for the sum of the first 6 terms of this geometric pattern over here, which is 3, negative 6, and 12. Again, ang first step na gagawin natin is to get now the common ratio. And to get the common ratio, we have to divide the second term to the first term. And that will give us negative 2. Also with 12 and negative 6. Why? Take note, pareho ang rule of signs natin for division and multiplication since it is a reciprocal of each other. Division is the reciprocal of multiplication, and multiplication is the reciprocal of division. So, pareho lang yung rule na umiiral sa kanila in terms of signs. Okay, so meron na tayong common ratio and meron na rin tayong value ng first term. This is your first term. So, we can now proceed to the calculation of the sum of the first 6 terms. So, for the sum of the first 6 terms, we have S sub 6 that is equal to A sub 1, which is the first term, times 1 minus the common ratio. Our common ratio is negative 2 raised to 6 divided by 1 minus negative 2. Okay, take note, any number raised to an even number is still positive. Okay? Kaya baka nagtataka pag in-input nyo yun sa calculator, negative 2 raised to 6, that is negative 64. But that's wrong. Always remember, if the exponent is positive, if the exponent is an even number, then, even number, then the number is positive. Since we are raising 2 to 6, which is even, our answer would be 3 times 1 minus 64. 64 is positive kasi nga even yung ating exponents. Okay? So next, ito naman, dito sa part na to, we are multiplying a negative to negative sign. And we know that if we are multiplying two negative numbers, it will give us positive. So magiging plus na to instead of negative. So, magiging plus na siya. Okay? So, ang ating denominator na ngayon ay 3. Now, evaluating the number inside the parentheses, we have 63. Since pareho yung ating numerator dito, we can just cancel it. Okay? We can just cancel this one. And okay, again, correction. Balikan natin yung din dito. So, this will be, since mas malaki yung negative 64 sa 1, this is negative 63. So, our answer here is negative 63. So, pag in-add natin yung 6 terms na merong 3 for the first term, 3, negative 6, negative 12 times negative 2, that is negative 24, times negative 2, that is 48, right? Times negative 2, 48, so that is 6, 1, 8, 96, am I right? 48 times 2. Yeah, okay. So this is the first 6 terms. Kapag ka-inad natin lahat yung number na yan, it will give us this number over here. Okay? Yun yung ibig sabihin ng summation. Okay. So that's it, guys, for the lesson for today. Again, the formula in getting the sum of the geometric sequence, sum of geometric sequence is equal to S sub n, wherein n denotes the last term or the number of terms of that particular sequence, is equal to a sub 1 multiplied to 1 minus r raised to n over 1 minus r, wherein r is your common ratio. So take note, be careful of the signs every time you are solving integers or integer number. Now, if you have rational numbers or fractions as answers, be sure to convert it to its simplest form. Okay. Kung hindi man simplest form or yung decimal number,